Well, hello, and good evening, everyone. If you can go ahead and mute everyone out, that would be awesome. I have some exciting information to share, guys. Can't wait to jump right in. We have a lot to cover, some special guests on the line. Not only will we go over our blood types O and AB, in fact, we're going to really dive into our AB, but we're going to talk about emotions. In fact, I have two, not one, but two experts who's going to jump on and talk about emotions. In fact, our first one's going to give us just a general, outline as far as how does emotions affect our health. And then our other expert, Eric's going to come on and really talk about emotions as it relates to your blood type, because we all manifest our emotions differently depending on our blood type, which is just mind-blowing when you really dive into all of this and learn all of the science behind blood types. But without any further ado, what I want to first do is ask you the question that I ask every Sunday, and that is, what are the two things that everyone in the world is consumed with multiple times a day? In fact, I just got through doing it, okay? And guess what that was? I was eating, okay? Eating and drinking. In fact, I'm here at our office, and the corporate team wanted to make sure they had some healthy food in their system. And what I'm trying to do is be intentional when I make meals to make sure they're neutral for every blood type. So we had a great spinach and romaine and a walnut and blueberry salad. And then we put olive oil, some lemon, a little bit of agave. And I gave some to Tracy and Shannon. Shannon's a type A, Tracy's a type O. And guess what? They loved it. They said it was delicious. So it was a home run. So we could eat healthy and it could still be delicious. So yes, we are consumed with eating. We're consumed with drinking. And because of that, it's the story of our survival. When you think about that, eating and drinking made a difference sometimes between whether we lived or died, okay? But now they've made a business out of it, because if you look at the United States alone, we're spending $2 trillion annually on eating, drinking, and supplements. In fact, when you think about our health care now, in fact, some call it our sick care, but we're actually spending $2.5 trillion on our health care annually. In fact, in the United States, if you think about the big four, in millions, we have heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. But if you compare heart disease and you compare that to cancer, so many more people are suffering from heart disease compared to cancer. But then when you look at the statistics from who is dying from what, almost the same number of people die from cancer as they die from heart disease. So we know that people who, get cancer, oftentimes we are not really given a great prognosis from our doctors. And so it's awesome to know that we have a team here that's going to share with you some amazing ways to restore the body. We don't talk about healing or curing, but we can restore the body by what we put in our body between what we're eating and what we're drinking. So yes, we're here tonight to bring the good news. And so we know that belly fat increases our risk factors for virtually every disease that we're dealing with. Even dementia and Alzheimer's is affected and impacted by our belly fat. When you think about cancer, and now let's compare women in the United States to women in Kenya. Do you know that we're 20 times more likely than women in Kenya to actually develop breast cancer? And then when you think about inflammation, they call this the silent killer, but do you know that 9 out of 10 people are suffering from pain and inflammation on a regular basis? And then let's look at the healthcare system here in the United States. Because the average life expectancy here in the United States, we're considered one of the wealthiest countries in the world. But when it comes to our healthcare, we are going bankrupt because we rank number 37. That means there are third world countries that are absolutely outliving us. And so we have to figure out a way to turn that around. One of the things we know is the food that heal us have the lowest profit margins. So oftentimes big business isn't focused there. They're focused on what? Processed foods, the foods that sit on the shelves for years and years, because they have the highest profit margins. And so we have to understand that a lot of this is by design. Now that we've looked at the problem, it's time to dive into the solution. In the original Flat Belly ebook, we really looked at some of the things that were contributing to our poor health. In fact, we looked at the most dangerous lectins. We know that lectins are the anti-nutrients. They're a form of protein that's found in almost every food, but some of those proteins are good for certain blood types. Some of them are bad, and we know that there are some foods that are dangerous for almost every blood type. We looked at the nightshades, and we looked at our gut health. We explored the concept of microbiome and how we can restore our health by focusing on our gut. And as a result, we saw success happening across the country. We witnessed women and men shed pound after pound and inches. In fact, our grand prize winner over the course of 2 challenges actually lost about 47 pounds, right? So we're super excited for Tamika and her success, but there were more of you. Gia Bankhead, I mean, look at what you did, over 15 pounds lost, okay? And then we had Mary Graham. I mean, look at her transformation. Look at that belly fat, losing almost 15 pounds herself. And so again, many of you participated. We're so grateful. But we've taken this to that next level. This is Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0. I want everyone to put in the chat, next level, okay? In order for us to go to that next level, we've got to claim it, okay? We can't just sit by and idly wait for the next level to hit us. We've got to claim it. So go ahead and put in the chat. I'm going to wait to watch you guys put in the chat the words next level, because I know that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, right? Attempting to go to the next level. I know some are with us, right? Some of you guys are ready for next level. And what is the next level? The next level is going plant-based for your blood type, okay? We're going to look at that. And if some of the moderators can help me with some of the people that might be accidentally unmuting, please, that would be awesome. So here's a question. Have you ever witnessed someone who appeared to do almost everything right, but still seemed to suffer? Let me just try to unmute a few people here, one moment. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so have you ever witnessed someone who appeared to do almost everything right? I mean, they seemed to exercise, they were eating the right things, they seemed to be drinking the right things. And some of them not only died prematurely, but some of them might have died in their 30s or 40s. I mean, I get phone calls from people, maybe it's their nephew or their niece, and they thought, wow, you know, this is a person that was exercising, they were eating the right things, but something happened, okay? In order for you to increase health and vitality, it's important that we understand the role of our emotions, our blood type, exercise and diet, and how all of that impacts us. And so we're going to explore all of these areas and so much more tonight. In fact, we're going to dive really deep into emotions, and we have an expert on the line that's going to really help us break that down. We're going to talk a little bit about, you know, exercise, and I know meditation is so important to help us calm our brain and keep our body, you know, working in harmony. We know that these are just very important components of self-care. You know, we really have to spend time focused on self-care. So many times, especially as women, we're so busy wearing a million hats, okay? We take care of everyone. But what do they tell us on the airplane? They say, put the oxygen on yourself first, because if you can't take care of yourself, how in the world are you going to help save someone else, okay? And then we're going to dive into blood types. Hopefully everyone by now knows your blood type. If you know your blood type, and if you don't mind sharing it, okay? We want to see in the chat what blood types we have represented on the line tonight. So go ahead and comment. Let us know if you're type O, if you're A. You can let us know if you know whether you're positive or negative. When it comes to diet, it really doesn't matter whether you're positive or negative. The most important component is what is your specific blood type. So hopefully by now you know your blood type. If you don't, there is a quick test that you can take. In fact, if you're here in Chicago, you can come see us and we'll make sure, you know, we get this test done for you. Or you can order it on Amazon, or even Walmart has this kit, okay? And so go get that kit. You know, it's important not only for you to know your blood type, but you want to know your family's blood type, your husband, your wife, you know, your children. You know, critical that everyone knows their blood type, okay? And one of the other components that we've started to really identify, we've introduced something called the Bioscan. In fact, the person who introduced that to us, he's going to be on the line. But one of the things we're noticing is how many people are truly suffering from high levels of inflammation, from immune systems that are just overworking, overactive, okay? And so many years we've heard the word that inflammation is the silent killer. I mean, we've all heard that, right? It's that fire within. It's that alarm that's going off, that's trying to give our body a warning sign, okay? It's trying to warn us that something is wrong. But we tend to deal with chronic inflammation over and over and over until it becomes chronic disease, until it shows up as cancer, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, right? So many different issues that we battle because of that inflammation that's lying inside of our body. And so what's exciting tonight, I know many of you have flown in, some of you came in from Texas and Maryland, some of you right here in Chicago, but we've introduced this concept called a bioscan, where it's actually able to pinpoint and identify areas in your body that are off balance, okay? We know that when we're off balance, that's when we start to manifest symptoms that eventually turn into disease. And what we're so excited about is for the first time, we have a way of keeping score. Because in the past, we would eat and we would think we're doing the right things, not knowing that certain food was triggering inflammation in our body. And so wouldn't it be so refreshing to know that you can come to us, you can come to our expert, get a quick, simple test. It takes just a few minutes and immediately it can identify multiple areas of your body and let you know whether you're in balance or whether you're out of balance, whether those areas are normal, slightly abnormal, moderately abnormal, or severely abnormal. And when I look at those colors, you know, we know that green, right, that's optimal living, okay? Blue is when things are just a little off, but yellow is that cautionary sign. It's that warning that's letting us know that if we make some changes, guess what, we can improve. But if we don't, it's going to cause some severe issues in our body. And then, of course, we know the red areas. You know, that's that red flag that's telling us, hey, listen, you know, something's happening, you know, danger is imminent. So we've got to make dramatic changes. But in the past, you know, you go to the doctor, they're not telling you, you know, really what's wrong. In fact, half the time, they can't even figure things out. And so we're super excited because tonight we're going to have our expert share just a little bit more about how this bioscan works and how it can absolutely be the solution to what you're dealing with right now. In fact, not only do we have the bioscan, but we've also put together some tools because one of the things we understand more than ever, we have to go plant-based, right? It's important for us to go plant-based for our blood type, okay? And so in going plant-based, a lot of times, you know, people start to think, oh, what is this one of those boring diets where all I'm going to do is eat broccoli, you know, and lettuce all day long? You know, what does this mean? We know that food is just a part of our soul. You know, we say the word soul food, and we got together with our families every Sunday, and that for many of us, you know, represents our greatest delight, you know, the ability to eat really good food. But what I love and hanging with Eric and Sharon, you're going to find that we're going to actually be able to eat plant-based food that tastes amazing. So what we've done, we've actually put together this amazing plant-based for your blood type cookbook. In fact, this is going to be available on your website in just a few weeks. We're super pumped up about it. But what's so exciting about it, if you're type O, if you're type A, it's going to let you know each recipe, who it's designed for. And some of those recipes are going to be neutral. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that tonight, but I'm going to give you just a sneak peek, okay, of some of the meals that you're going to see and be able to prepare in this amazing brand new cookbook that's coming out to a website near you called wakana.com, okay? And so yes, there's going to be a lot of plants, okay, a lot of plant-focused meals. But I was even surprised that there's even a vegan cheesecake, cheese toast, okay, with Ezekiel bread, because I know sometimes we need those comfort foods, okay? And so you're going to be surprised at so many different plant-based meats and food that you can have that's going to be so delicious, but more importantly, so nutritious, because we have to make sure that we're getting nutrients in our bodies on a daily basis. It's so critical more than ever because most of us are walking around nutrient deficient, and many people aren't even absorbing those nutrients because we spend most of our life eating dead food. And guess what happens? Our life force energy starts to die and we lose the ability to even absorb our nutrients and break down our food. But when we can bring you life-sustaining drinks, life-sustaining meals, we can make it as simple as opening up a recipe book. You can see exactly how to make your juices, how to make your smoothies, what to do for every single blood type. Can you imagine how simple this is going to be and how it's going to be something that everyone can do? And so we're super excited. So whether you love your soups or whether you love, more starchy dishes, You know, we're going to have something for every single blood type that's going to be nutritious, it's going to be delicious, and something you can make from the comfort of your home. And it's going to be a variety of different type of foods, because one of the critical things is we've got to put that variety. We got to eat the rainbow if we're going to get the nutrients back into our cells. But again, sometimes we want that taco, right? We want that comfort food. And so there's vegan options for almost every food you can imagine. We're going to emphasize the importance of 3 different types of things, right? Whether you do your raw foods, your steamed, or you start to do your juicing, right? So we're going to get into all of that so that you can be intentional with making sure every day you're getting certain nutrients incorporated inside of each one of your meals. Even with smoothies, right? There's certain types of blood. Let's say if you are an O or a B and you can have a banana, right? And you want to have a smoothie, great. But if you're type A, you might just need to have that avocado smoothie. So you're going to know, depending on your blood type, here's how you make your smoothie. Here's how you make all of your meals. And again, there's going to be loads and loads of neutral meals. In addition to that, we're looking at certain supplements like nutritional yeast, because one of the things that you're going to find is when you start to go plant-based, you can actually run the risk of becoming deficient in your B vitamins, right? And so we want to make sure you get your B vitamins on a daily basis. There's a simple solution called nutritional yeast that you can sprinkle on your salads. You can sprinkle on some of your dishes. And what's great, it gives your dish like a cheesy flavor. And so you're going to learn all of this and so much more. And for those of you who have that sweet tooth, okay, and you're wondering, is this the end of dessert? No, we're going to have amazing desserts that are in that cookbook that you can actually utilize and make for your family. And so yes, the good news is there is light at the end of that tunnel, and we're going to have amazing recipes we're going to enjoy during this process. And we just need to understand this, because understanding these factors hold the key not only to your survival, but to longevity with actual health in that longevity. Because a lot of times we can live long, but if it's not healthy years, it becomes years where we're crippled with disease, right? And so we want to have a long life, a healthy life, and we want to have that vitality all of our life. See, what we're eating and what we're drinking, see, it's your body that's going to determine whether those substances are your friends or your foe, right? Are your enemies, okay? And we know this too, especially more than ever, that once you understand your blood type, that it's one man's food, that could be another man's poison, right? So we want to know what our kids' blood types are before we even make those meals, so that we can make more neutral meals that really apply for everyone. And so we've got to identify our blood type. I know today we're going to dive into our AB. We're going to talk a little bit about our O and then go into those emotions. But when we think about the AB blood type, one of the things I read, it said in nature, perhaps Mother Nature saved the best for last, okay? So AB happens to be a kind of a combination between type A, type B. They're very charismatic, okay? Very mysterious, and they're able to adapt to modern conditions. And that, it tends to be a really positive trait when we know that life is about change and it's the ability to adapt, okay? But when you think about some of the weaknesses, you have an overly tolerant immune system, okay? Sometimes are plagued with digestive issues, right? But again, a lot of that has to just do with what you're eating. We can simply make changes and change all of that. Some of the exercises that benefit a type AB basically include some of these, whether it's calming and intense workouts, working out outdoors, making sure you warm up first, focusing on exercises that balance the mind, the body, and the spirit, and really bringing a variety to your workouts, okay? Bringing that variety. See, these are some of the items that benefit you as an AB. Some of the things you want to avoid for weight loss if you're an AB, you know, red meat, okay? Kidney beans, seeds, sweet corn, and buckwheat, okay? Some of the things that help contribute to weight loss for you include tofu and fish and green vegetables and alkaline fruit and pineapples. Those are some of the things that really help to accelerate weight loss for our type AB brothers and sisters. In fact, what happens when you eat food? So when you take in food, what happens is there's a chemical reaction. It's going to occur between the food and your blood. See, food contains a type of protein known as lectins, right? And these lectins actually impact your blood. And when you're taking in lectins that are incompatible, right, with your blood, it's going to actually cause your body to actually release, right, something that targets your organs and your bodily systems like your kidneys and liver and brain. And so we don't want to target organs, right, our major organs. We want to help protect them. So it's important that we don't eat lectins that are incompatible with our blood so that we can stay at the highest levels of health and vitality. You know, we want to be mindful of these foreign invaders, okay? Because these foreign invaders actually happen to sometimes even have the immune system target them, you know, as foreign invaders. So it's given our immune system a false alarm. And so our immune system is doing what? It's overworking, it's overreacting. And so we want to eliminate that so that we can keep our immune system, you know, at peace. We can prevent it from overreacting. We want to prevent that violent level of inflammation that so many of us battle with, that contributes to irritable bowel system and syndrome. Cirrhosis of the liver, you know, that contributes to the block of flow of blood. Right? We want to stop and prevent all of that. Very, very critical. And so for type ABs, some of the foods that contribute to that violent level of inflammation that you're going to want to avoid, you know, here's a list of some of the actual meat and seafood. Now, if you're looking at this, it might just make you scream because perhaps you've been eating crab and grouper, perhaps you've been having oysters and octopus and lobster your whole life. Well, guess what? Now you know better, then we must do better, okay? And if you look at some of the actual meat, you know, from beef and buffalo to chicken, right? So there's a lot of meat that's on the list for the type AB blood system. And so it's very important that you learn your blood type so that you can understand what food is contributing to these high levels of inflammation, okay? And so hopefully if you're an AB, you've had a chance to take a screenshot of that because we're gonna keep it moving tonight. But let's just compare you to a type O. A type O person actually can eat most of the meat, even though we're gonna say you shouldn't because we're going plant-based, but just know that your system was designed to tolerate more animal consumption, okay? Why is that? Because our O brothers and sisters, they have really high stomach acids, okay? And so if you don't have those high stomach acids, what does that mean? It's gonna cause a lot of digestive distress when you're dealing with that. Now, just know that all of us were designed to eat plants, okay? There's no true carnivores as human beings, because if we were true carnivores, we wouldn't die from heart disease or cancer, okay? But at the end of the day, we know that at least our type O brothers and sisters have those higher stomach acids, so they really require more protein and they can tolerate it better. So ABs, you're gonna know now to limit a lot of that animal consumption if you don't avoid it altogether, okay? To give you a comparison when it comes to grains, because we know on the opposite side, our type O brothers and sisters are really supposed to eat a lot less grains and carbs in order to operate at maximum efficiency. So they do better on a high protein diet. So if we look at the type O's, you know, there's a lot of grains they have to avoid. If you look at the nuts, you know, the Brazil nuts, the cashews, you know, you can see the list there is pretty extensive for our type O's. Now with a type AB, yours is actually a little bit more restrictive than a type A. We showed the comparison of a type A last week, but an AB, while you have more grains you can have than an O, you have slightly more nuts that you can have than an O. Just know because you have both B characteristics and A characteristics, it's actually going to limit some of the grains that you can even have, okay? So it's very critical that if we have type AB people in our family, we're paying attention to the differences when someone is a type AB blood. And here's the part that really, you know, was dumbfounded for me. I was like, oh my goodness, because all my life, you know, you were told certain foods were healthy. Because of these lectins that are appearing in so many of our foods, guess what? Even some of the healthy foods, okay, aren't as healthy for all blood types, okay? And so let's look at that list for our AB family out there and take that screenshot, okay? Because this is the avoid list of even, yes, some of the healthy foods that you thought all your life were healthy. So if you're AB, you not only have to avoid the avocado, but even the banana, okay? So, but again, the good news is we've created a grocery list that's going to give you a list of everything you can eat. So no worries, we're going to find a solution, but at least now you know what's behind a lot of the challenges you might have seen with your digestive system and your immune system, because we know we all want to do what? Live the best possible life. And in order to do that, we must have this type of information, right? We must know what we need to eat, and we can't be confused about it, because we also know that our chronological age is the number of years we've been on this earth, but our biological age is really based on our diet, our lifestyle, our exercise, our chromosomes, and we want to do what? Reverse our biological age, and we can do that with simple dietary changes. In fact, by just doing this for a few weeks, you could actually take back years, okay? Years. And so we're super excited about that capability and how powerful the body is, okay? And so we've introduced our Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0 designed for blood types, so that you can really get specific on what you need to live your best life, okay? And we've broken it down into 3 phases. Now, phase 1, it's pretty much our normal flat belly lifestyle with a few modifications, okay? So we have a full grocery list with a few modifications, and anything that's for your blood type, if you're on our phase 1, that's what you're able to consume. Phase 2 means you're wanting to go plant-based, so we invite you to go plant-based with us. Phase 3 is when we start that detox, and most of us are starting the intensive detox either on December 1st or January the 2nd, okay? And we're gonna give you details on how you can join us on this intensive detox. In fact, we provide you with a grocery list, and we ask everyone in the month of December now, because November is almost over, to commit to at least plant-based for 21 days, just so that you can notice the difference when you go plant-based and give up some of that animal consumption. And so that grocery list is very impactful, because it's going to let you know, here's how phase 1 works, here's how phase 2 works, here's how phase 3 works. And then it's going to give you a little bit of scenario about each blood type. And then it's going to go through your proteins, your carbohydrates, your oils and fats. And this is available right now on Facebook. It's available on our group page. So make sure you tag the people you've invited to this line so they can download this grocery list. We actually had it on the website, but there was some issue with downloading. So we just made it available for everybody, okay, on Facebook. And the only restrictions is when you see something in red. When you see something in red, what you need to do is look to see if that's something your blood type should avoid. If it is in black, it means it's neutral for every single blood type. And so it goes on and on with all the different food. And for those of you who stay in phase 1, it's going to give you some rules on dairy. It's going to give you some rules on things like eggs, because if you are type O, even though you might be able to eat some eggs, if you're African American, no eggs, okay? So you really need to pay attention, read through all of that. And at the end of the day, Dr. Eric's top picks include doing what? Eating more raw food and vegetables, okay? Steaming our vegetables is priority 2. And then the raw nutritional juices, those are critical, okay? Eating organic food, doing non-GMO, and ensuring we're eating what? Plant-based meats, okay? So those are Dr. Eric's top picks. We also have 3 products that are available right now, so we can all get started on this program by incorporating our 3 supplements that have been a part of our success for the last 6 months now. We've actually embarked in, this is our 3rd challenge, okay? And so it's super excited to see so many lives change. With this challenge, we're just taking it to that next level. And so there's 4 steps that everyone needs to commit to. And the first step is go to our website, which is Flat Belly Lifestyle. Make sure you get registered. The second step is make sure you download the new grocery guide. The third step is know your blood type, okay? So get that blood type test, and you wanna make sure you order your products, okay? And so what we've done is we've also put together some pretty bold goals, okay? And I hope you're ready to come with us, with these really bold goals. The first goal is we want over 1 million people. We want to impact the lives of over 1 million people by encouraging people to do what? Know their blood type, okay? So we're gonna help over 1 million people get their blood tested, and we're gonna let you register on our website when you do this. So can you imagine the impact this is gonna make all across the world, okay? But not only that, we then wanna encourage at least 100,000 of them to join us, okay? To join us on this new movement, okay? And out of those 100,000, we're gonna encourage at least 10,000 of them to come get scanned so they can know exactly what's going on. They can see those yellow, green, those blue areas, and they can learn what they need to do to get those areas all in the green. And so with that being said, the 3 supplements that we're adding to our regimen will be released January the 2nd. There's a few of you that are going to be able to pre-order these on Cyber Monday, because we're going to have a special for Cyber Monday to allow you to order these 3 brand new supplements. And so Dr. Eric is going to go through these in greater detail, but just to give you a list of what these supplements that we're bringing to the world are, you can see it right here visually on the screen. And so with that said, again, you want to follow those 4 steps. And hopefully tonight you got something out of this presentation. Hopefully there's some nuggets and knowledge you can use to change your life, to transform the lives of your family members, because now we're about to go on a whole new journey, because we're going to jump into how all of this connects to emotions, because many of you are going to start, some of you are going to have a more dramatic transformation, but sometimes there's emotional baggage that we're going to have to let go of if we want to get to that next level. And so the person that I'm going to introduce now is such a pleasure, such a joy, such a thrill, because she is someone who's just been near and dear to me probably for over 15 years now. And I remember not only meeting this woman when we were working a business together, but what really impacted me was when I saw her commitment to her ex-husband at the time. You know, her husband had actually, he actually developed cancer. And at the time, I believe, I don't know if you were separated completely or you were divorced, but I just remember you weren't in a relationship together. But when he was diagnosed with cancer, guess who was there to help bring him back to health, to help him to reverse his cancer, and to give him so much nutritional guidance, so much guidance as it relates to his emotions. She helped to take this man to the next level, and now he's forever indebted to her, I know. I mean, he's there for her, and they're divorced to this day, but they're like best friends. It's just an amazing relationship. But also, she's became a bestseller. She wrote about this experience, became a bestseller. She's now the editor of the Darlena Rose magazine, and she is a renowned expert on the subject of emotional healing. And so I want to go ahead and bring her up to the room. My good friend, introducing to many of you for the very first time, Darlena Rose, if you can go ahead and take it away.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Melissa. You're amazing. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share something that has been near and dear to my heart for so long. And yeah, when Vaughn got sick, we definitely were not together, but there's some decisions that you have to make when somebody that you have spent almost 30 years of your life with, to determine whether or not you could take if somebody called you and told me that they were no longer here. And the answer to that question was no. So I wasn't sure how I was going to help them, but God always gives us direction, and so it was absolutely a raw plant-based diet. But the thing that we found out was that, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are connected mind, body, and soul. And so what affects the mind affects the body, affects the soul. And so what I learned in all of this research was that we have to be so in tune with our emotions, because what will happen is whatever this dis-ease that's in the body has an emotional cause. And this is not me just making it up. It's science. You can look it up. For everything, there is an emotional cause. And so what I found was that cancer was a disease of anger, deep hurt, regret, and deep grief. High blood pressure was emotional issue not dealt with. Heart disease is heartache. You know, I was I don't call myself a survivor. I call myself a victor. There's something about the word survivor. So I'm a heart disease victor. And what I know is that my heart disease was caused by a broken heart. And so everything that we experience always comes back in some sort of way. Headaches are invalidation of self or self-criticism. Constipation is holding on to something nasty that you need to let go of. You know, inflammation in the body is fear, seeing red, being inflamed, having inflamed thinking. Our kidneys hold fear, our livers hold anxiety. And so it's so important that we find these causes for the dis-ease, because once you find the emotional part, you can then fix it with dealing with the emotion part. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner, so I can help you to release this emotional baggage that's causing all this problem. And then once we've done that part, then you can eat the good food, you can take the supplements. I love all those food pictures that you showed. They made me hungry. All of that good, healthy food. And, you know, if you don't remember anything that I said, remember that you cannot cure a living body with dead food. I'm going to say that one more time. You cannot cure a living body with dead food. So if everything you eat, like even right now, all this soul food and collard greens and all that kind of stuff, it's all dead. Tastes good, but it's all dead. And so it's so important that we, you know, identify that. Because, you know, it makes sense that we can absolutely heal ourselves and cure ourselves by identifying what that is. And so if you look at whatever your current problem is, all you have to do is look within, because if it hurts, if it bleeds, if it aches, if it oozes, if it twists, if it blows up, if it limps, burns, ages, or can't see or can't hear, and guess what? Our emotions has created it all. You know, your health is in direct reflection of how you feel. It's all about your emotions. And so even, I didn't mention that people who suffer from back pain, that's a lack of support. If it's your lower back, it's your finances, you know, it's so important to identify what these things absolutely are. And, you know, as a practitioner, you know, I'm so excited about this whole collaboration because, you know, you got, you know, me here to help with the emotions, and then Eric to come in and do the scan, and then you with the diet. You know, you cannot win. I mean, you can only win with this combination of things. You know, when you think about people who have a bunch of weight that they need to lose, weight is an actual security jacket. It's protecting you from the world. So the more weight that you put on, it is really a protection from everything that's around you. And so as you start to release the weight, you find that you don't need to be protected from the world. And so once you know that, then you get to start to releasing that. And then by adding all of the amazing Wakanda products and everything that Eric will do, these almost like, just like you say, pillars, these pillars will come all together to help us all to live this amazing, healthy life. I saw a picture of a woman today who was 70 years old, but she looked like she was 30. And when I read her story was talking about how her diet was 100% plant-based, 100% plant-based and raw. So nothing cooked at all. And so I have lived that life before. You know, that is how I became a heart disease victor, and my ex-husband being, you know, having his cancer resolved, because we handled the emotional parts first. Because what you find, especially in people with cancer, you find that they will have all kinds of treatments done and the disease will go into remission. It'll go into remission 1 time, 2 times, and then by the 3rd time it comes back and it takes the person out. And that's because the emotional part of it has not been dealt with. So it will continue to keep coming up until that emotional baggage is handled. And so, yeah. So with that being said, back to you, MB.
Wow, Darlena, that was amazing. And I know tonight the audience were blessed, because as you were talking about heart disease and cancer and just the impact of emotions, even with weight, I mean, that was next level. I mean, and then the statement you said about you can't, you know, really heal and cure, you know, a living body with dead food. I mean, that resonated. I mean, you just dropped so many nuggets. I'm just full right now with what you shared. So give it up, you guys, for Darlena, our special guest. She's actually in not only our recipe book, because we actually kind of talk about some emotional healing in that book too, because there's a saying where when we prepare our food, it's like a way you can prepare it with love. You don't want to prepare that food with anger, right? So that's a part of the plant-based cookbook too, is really cooking and preparing our food with love and not holding on to anger. And then also too, we have another ebook that's coming out January the 2nd that she's a part of too. And so if you want to really take your emotional healing to the next level, and then we have an online series that's in the development right now with both Darlena and Eric. And that's going to be several weeks of coaching and techniques designed to take you to the next level. So she's an expert now that's a part of our whole program. And so again, I see so much love pouring in for you, Darlena. You have blessed us just like you have blessed me before. And I just want to truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for caring and sharing tonight to give this awesome information to the audience. And I know we have Eric on the line. I saw him drop in earlier, and I'm super excited because he's going to take what you've just done and now talk about specific blood types as it relates to emotional healing and trauma. And then I know he's going to get into a little bit about the scan, because I know that's something everyone is curious about, like what is the scan and how does it work? And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up our amazing naturopath who's really just been on a journey to help heal thousands of people all across the country. And I am so honored that he is now partnered here with us. His resume is extensive, the education that he's went through to be where he's at today. But what I'm more impressed with is he is a student of actual working with patients and seeing them get resolved. And so that to me is better than any textbook, because you have hands-on evidence that what you're saying works. And so without any further ado, Eric Prince, I see you're out there. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, we hear you.
Great, great. So strap in, everybody put your seatbelts on, because you're about to learn something very powerful in the next few minutes. I do thank everyone for being patient with us, because this is a new relationship. We haven't been around each other for more than 2 months, actually less than a month probably, but things happen so fast, we just had to roll with it. You know, when the spirit moves, you just flow with it. And that's good. I'm in a stage now where I've put so much work in to help our people, and not just our people. I work with people all over, but my priority is our people first, you know, because we're the ones that's suffering. We've been suffering a long time. We've been going through a lot of oppression. We've been dealing with slavery. So yes, we've dealt with a lot of stress and a lot of negative emotions. And guess what? That's passed down genetically to our offspring. So we have the predisposition to negative emotions, to stress in our bodies already. So we're already dealing with a lot of baggage that we have to clear up, basically from decades, maybe even a couple of centuries, you know, since slavery started. So that's what we're dealing with. So that's why it's so important for us to understand what's going on with this process, this program, because yes, this is it. This is your one-stop shop. I like to say that this is your one-stop shop. I know there's been many companies out there that many of you have been a part of, but let me tell you this is a good time to be alive. And we are in a position, like Melissa said, to change the world. Imagine that you are part of changing the world. And man, you know, I'm how can I say this? I get a lot of revelation, you know, from God. And it's because of my ability to meditate. And I know that Melissa does some meditation, which we should all get into that. And at some point, I talked to Melissa about doing a guided meditation with everyone, which is going to be very powerful, because the goal is we have to learn how to silence our mind. If you can't silence your mind, it's going to be hard to get from point A to point B, because you got all of this chatter going on in your head. So we got to learn how to silence our mind. And when you do, man, there's so much information that's going to be available to you, because all the information out there is in the ether. You know, it's already out there. You know, thoughts, everything is out there that has ever been on the planet, any human being has ever experienced. It's all out there in records. But you have to tune in to that frequency. It's kind of like a radio. When you change the station on the radio, you hear a whole different station, and you hear music, you hear news and all that. But if you turn off that frequency, you go to another station and now you listen to more information. That's the same thing in life. You have to tune in to a higher frequency in order to get more powerful information concerning the future. And that's what I've gotten. And that's why I'm here now, is because I see what's coming. I know what God is doing to man and for man, and I know what he's making man into. So it's important now that we get this right. And so I just wanted to say thank you for being patient. Thank you for being patient with us. Products are being worked on as we speak. Regimens are being worked on as we speak. We're scanning every week to the point where, we're just making sure that everybody learns as much as possible about what's going on in their body, because for some of you who have already scanned, you've never seen this information before concerning you, concerning your body. So this information is definitely pertinent too. It's the missing link. If I can explain it in the best way, it's the missing link to be able to know exactly what's going on in your body before it happens, before the crisis show up. That's the reason that's important, because once the crisis shows up, it's going to be even more challenging to try to address it, because we're initially going to address it the wrong way. We go to the ER, we call our doctor, and we're trying to get something from them that they can't give us, which is the holistic approach to healing, removing, and eradicating our condition. What really is our condition? Our condition is really imbalance. We have a severe imbalance going on, and it started from when we were young. So when we talk about blood types, as you can see, the blood type is so connected to your immune system. It's ridiculous. Think about it, all the stuff that you're learning. Shouldn't you have learned this stuff when you was in your single digits, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? We should have learned this a long time ago, because it affects your life. So you got to ask yourself the question, why didn't we learn more about this when we were younger? Because I think someone was telling me back in the 80s, when they start really talking about blood type diet, it was starting to become big news. But somewhere down the line, somebody suppressed that information. And they did it for a very important reason, because it's all about taking control back over your health. If that's what you want to do, then this is the way to do it. But we have to become as little children, and we have to learn all over. So you have to open your mind and be ready to download new information that is going to challenge all of the stuff that you've ever learned about. You are going to be challenged, and you have to be challenged, because unless you're challenged, you won't change. These programs that's running in us are running in us on a subconscious level. In fact, you don't even know that you don't know what's running in your program. And so we have to become exposed to some things. And so one thing I want to talk about is emotions and stress management, because when you talk about the immune system, you cannot talk about the immune system without talking about stress, without talking about emotions. But now we're tying it into food. So now we know that based on our blood type, there are certain foods that are considered friend. There are certain foods that are considered a foe or an enemy. The foods that your body considers an enemy, of course, it's gonna begin to trigger your immune system. And now your defenses are gonna go to work to try to defend you against something that otherwise is harmless. A banana is harmless. Avocado is harmless. Some certain nuts, certain beans that normally we eat, like for me, blood type O for beans, let's see, pinto beans. I wasn't really a big pinto bean eater, but because I know it's on my avoid list, I don't really eat pinto beans. Do I need them? I need protein from the beans, but I don't necessarily need pinto beans. I think for blood type O, you've probably never even heard of this before. It's called Azuki beans. Azuki. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Azuki beans. So Azuki beans and black-eyed peas. Everybody know about black-eyed peas. So Azuki beans and black-eyed peas are actually beneficial for blood type O. You know, so in other words, these beans and these peas are like medicine to our body. So guess what? I consume more Azuki beans, I consume more black-eyed peas, and that's all I do. You just change your actions, you change your routine. You don't keep doing the same routine once you find out that the old routine is not serving you right. And so based upon blood type, the immune system is either going to be weakened or it's going to be strengthened. So I want you to think about the fact that until now, many of you didn't know much about blood type diet. Many of you didn't know much about how the blood type is correlated with your immune system. And many of you didn't really know your blood type. So the question is, we've been living in the dark. And when you're living in the dark, when things happen, you don't know where they came from. You don't know what's causing it. And so we go to the medical doctor, and yes, the medical doctor is very trained. So I give them their respect. But the problem is that they don't get a whole lot of education in holistic health or even nutrition in medical school. So we're going to them for things that can only be holistically resolved. You understand that? It can only be holistically resolved when you're dealing with degenerative diseases. Degenerative diseases is a dietary issue. Degenerative diseases is a dietary issue. So therefore, we have to turn back to food. But first, we need to understand what food has caused us to come into this particular condition or to experience this particular crisis. But now we're knowing that some of the foods that we eat every day, some of the foods that we've been eating traditionally are actually affecting us negatively. So knowing your blood type is the first stage of getting that taken care of. But many of us are emotional eaters, right? We eat emotionally. So when soon as stress hits, soon as something negative occurs, we immediately go to food. But how effective is it if the food that you go to when you're already in a stress or negative state is food that really is being identified as an enemy to your body? Does that help? It couldn't help. In fact, that's a compound disinterest, that because you're going to food and now you're going to food that actually is about to trigger your emotions even more to the point where it weakens your immune system. So this is why we're cleaning up. We're cleaning up all of the little information that we clean up all the little information that we don't know much about. Can you hear me okay out there? I'm hearing doubles. Hold on.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get the echo.
Okay, I got it. My my speaker had jumped on while I was talking and trying to sabotage me. Anyway, so guess what? Here's the saying. Check this out. You write this down. If you can't control your emotions, chances are you are addicted to them. If you can't control your emotions, chances are you are addicted to them. Or say, well, what are you talking about? How can I be addicted to my emotions? Well, here's the science, the chemistry of emotions. Anytime we deal with any type of negative emotions, it's in the same category as stress. It actually activates your fight or flight system. Anytime you activate your fight or flight system, it causes your immune system to go to work. Just like when you eat certain foods, you're kind of activating your fight or flight, but in a very subtle way. So when you activate your fight or flight based upon a negative emotion, which leads to stress, what happens is that you actually cause your immune system to go to work as if you are in a life-threatening situation. So your body thinks it's in a life-threatening situation, and then it triggers all of the adrenaline, all the cortisol to flow into your blood. It also triggers certain neural hormones, or you can call them neurotransmitters. These are chemicals, biochemicals that are released from your midbrain called the hypothalamus. These chemicals are actually released into your bloodstream that's associated with just about every emotion out there, which means that anger has a chemical, depression has a chemical, sadness has a chemical, happiness has a chemical. So in other words, emotions are chemical. Even though we experience them as feelings, it's a chemical associated with it. The reason I'm saying this is because it turns out that those same neurotransmitters that are released from your brain that floods your bloodstream, they attach to the cells in your body at certain receptor sites. Well, it turns out that the same receptor sites that those biochemicals from your brain attach to are the same receptor sites that heroin attaches to. And we already know that you can be addicted to heroin, but we never knew that you can be addicted to your own biochemicals that are coming from your midbrain and flooding your blood system. Your bloodstream. Sorry about that. Get tongue twisted. And that's important because when you have a particular experience which triggers a particular emotion, your body begins to learn that emotion, and you have it over and over and over again, and that becomes your personality. You become hardwired towards this particular emotion. And so any situation presently that reminds you of a past situation where there was any type of negative emotion associated with it, you will reinstitute the release of that biochemical from your brain, which will flood your bloodstream, and it will attach to your cell walls at the receptor sites, the same receptor sites that heroin attaches to. So that's why I say, if you can't control your emotions, you might be addicted to them. And guess what? All of us at some level is addicted to some emotion that we're experiencing over and over again. And that's why it's important to understand how to detox emotionally. So when we talk about emotional baggage, we're talking about an accumulation of negative experiences that you've had all your life, that you have learned, that your body has learned, that now anytime you experience anything similar to one of those situations, you're going to trigger the release of this same chemical from your brain that's going to flood your bloodstream and attach to the cells. What happens then is now cell division. When the cells divide, they divide with more receptor sites for the biochemical than for nutrition. In other words, you start having more receptor sites on your cells for the chemical, the negative emotion that you're experiencing, than you have for nutrients, which starts to become the reason that people start becoming depleted in their vitamins and minerals, because they're holding on to negative emotions of the past. You got to clear the baggage from the past. You got to be able to forgive. You got to be able to control your anger, your emotions, all this stuff. We have to mature to the point where we are proacting versus reacting. When you proact, what do? You choose your response, right? When you react, you actually are very predictable because you're reacting based upon who you are, your personality, what you've experienced in the past, and you're going to respond the same way each time. And every time you respond the same way, you release the same chemical. And that chemical floods your bloodstream and it feeds you. That chemical is feeding you. And if it's feeding you, that means that you're getting a rush from this eternal chemical emotion called anger, called frustration, called irritation. Do I have it up there? You know what? I got a list here of negative emotions. I like to keep a list of negative emotions so I can know what not to focus on, but I do keep a list of positive emotions also as well. So annoyed, anger, burdened, confused, disgusted, exasperated, frustrated, grief, ignored, isolated, obnoxious, remorse, anxious, anxiety, cautious, contempt, distracted, agonized, bored, concerned, destructive, disappointed. These are all negative emotions that trigger these chemicals that's released from your midbrain. And guess what? You begin to become a person that is always reactive based upon these chemicals to particular events. Now, let me connect this because you got to get this part. It's not just the chemicals. It's not just the mental toxins. It's emotional toxins. It's also the mental toxins. So you have mental and emotional toxins. Now, here's the other part to this. When you have a thought is an electrical impulses. We know that your brain contains neurons, and these neurons connect like webs. That's why they call it neural nets. Every time you have a thought of something in the past, you strengthen what's called these neural nets. Look like Wakanda, don't it? So these like the neural nets. So these neural nets are synapses connecting in your brain based on past experiences. And so when there's an experience that you have today that reminds you of one from yesterday, and you have the same predicted response, you strengthen those neural nets in your brain, which means you're locked into those thoughts. We know based upon the law of attraction and according to scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Well, your heart is controlled by your subconscious mind. So as you're thinking in your subconscious mind, as you're thinking from the past, as you're thinking of that baggage, then you're gonna continue to recreate that experience, which is gonna recreate the release of that chemical, which is only gonna allow you to ever experience the past and never anything new. And what do then? We start to weaken our immune system on a very subtle and regular and even a daily basis. Because if you have over 30,000 thoughts every day, and you have the same thoughts today that you had yesterday, then you're not changing. You're the same person yesterday as you are today, which means whatever's going on in your life, whatever's going on in your body, you can't change it, because you can't change things on the same level in which you created. You have to go above and beyond who you are in order to heal your body. And that's what we mean by getting rid of the mental and emotional toxins, because that leads to a weakened immune system, which leads to inflammation, which leads to pain, which leads to now having to take a lot of cannabis in order to address the pain. Well, let's go back and see what even caused the pain. What caused the inflammation? We're going back to your past. What happened to you when you was 1 to 7? Were you molested? Were you dealing with a lot of bullies? Were you dealing with deaths in the family? Did you have both your parents? When you got in high school, did you have problems with learning? Were you teased? When you got to college, did you have problems? Did you drop out? These are all the things that your body is keeping track of. And one thing you wasn't doing during that time, you weren't managing your emotions. You weren't managing your thoughts. You just let them run. And scripture says that every thought will bear witness in that day. In other words, there are no idle thoughts. If you're just sitting in your house by yourself and you're thinking negatively about something of the past, or if you're thinking negatively about a person, you are in the creation process and you're strengthening those negative neural nets. You're strengthening the release of those negative chemicals. I'm not going to say negative chemicals. They're chemicals. They're emotional chemicals. But these chemicals obviously are there for a reason. But if you're not controlling it, if you're not managing it properly, then obviously you're going to be dealing with an emotional state, and that makes you a reactive person. And so that's why it's important to detoxify not just the physical toxins. That's what we're going to do. We're going to clean the physical toxins out, but now we need to address the mental and emotional toxins. And we need to understand that. So from this day forward, become aware of how you are responding to situations that may show up that reminds you of the past, because they're going to show up and life is going to give you enough practice and enough situations to make sure that you master this. But if you never knew that every thought, every negative emotion becomes a chemical, and it also strengthens the neurons in your brain, then when you start proacting, you begin to choose your response and you start to weaken the neural net. As you choose your response, you start to weaken the release of that chemical from your brain. It doesn't happen overnight because you're hardwired that way. So this is about changing who you are. That's why I gave you guys those two books. One is The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and the other one is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. All of this is a part of everything that you're doing, because there are some people that once they start changing their negative thinking, once they start getting rid of some of that emotional baggage, they'll lose the weight. They'll heal from a disease. We thought it was just something physical, but no, it was something mental and emotional that you're dealing with that's causing dis-ease in the body. And I think Darlena talked about it, about anger being stored in the liver. And what have I been seeing all these weeks? Well, it ain't really been a lot of weeks, but the past few weeks, I've been seeing fatty livers. And that's a very powerful and major organ in the body. And the fact that anger is stored in your liver, we don't need to add any more to that liver than what's already going on with it. Some of us drink, some of us eat a lot of sweets. But the bottom line is that if we keep on adding stuff to our liver to make it worse, then we can never keep our blood clean. If you don't keep your blood clean, then yes, at some point, it is inevitable. You will develop heart disease. At some point, it is inevitable that you will develop a stroke, because how can you not, if you don't have the main organ that keeps your blood clean, that keeps your blood detox, if you don't have that flushed out and cleaned out, then it can't perform the way it's supposed to. So one of the things we do that's leading up to is the cleanse, the detox. It's about flushing and cleaning out the liver. It's about flushing and cleaning out the pancreas. It's about flushing and cleaning out your kidneys as well, correcting all vitamin and mineral deficiencies. And not only that, because now when you're in a fasting state, when you're not eating the meat, and as you know, meat lowers your vibrations. There's a frequency for sickness. You know what that frequency is? It's 58 megahertz. I know, right? You're wondering where I got that from. No, that's the frequency of disease, 58 megahertz. Your brain functions at 90 megahertz. Your body functions at like 86 megahertz. But disease tunes into your body at about 58 megahertz. So as you can see, it's a lower frequency. So yes, we are dealing with different frequencies. So when you cleanse and detox and you fast, what are you actually doing? You're raising the frequency of your body so that you can overcome disease on a metaphysical and an energetic level. Also, this is what happens when you cleanse. All of the negative emotions, all of the memories from the past starts to come to the surface, just like toxins. And now you have to face them. Now you have to address them. But the only difference is you're gonna choose your response instead of reacting the way you've reacted in the past. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're not gonna get mad at them. You're not gonna track them down and flip them off. I've done that a few times. It's okay, I don't do that anymore. You're not gonna flip them off. You're gonna bless them, right? I know that sounds crazy, like, wait, he almost made me have an accident. Why would I bless him? You're gonna bless him because you are now in control of yourself. It's a moment where you are actually self-aware. Now you're in that moment, you're choosing your response. You are proacting in that moment. And now you're weakening the neural net connection, and you're weakening the chemical in your brain. And at some point, there will be no more connection. There will be no more release of that chemical from your brain, and you will have overcome. Guess what? And now the weight comes off. Now the cancer goes into remission spontaneously. Now the blood pressure comes down. You see where I'm going with this? It starts to balance your body. So everything that we're talking about, especially with blood type, once you know your blood type, each blood type has a particular way that it manages stress and emotions. Imagine that. I'm blood type O. I'm O positive. And it turns out that blood type O, we manage our stress with rigorous exercise. We have to do rigorous exercise. And I never knew that, but the fact that I run track and field, that's very rigorous, but that's one of the reasons why I run. Now, I didn't know that before. I thought I was running because I just enjoyed running. But it turns out that the rigorous exercise, the training that I do actually helps me to manage stress. And so over the past few weeks, I've been running a lot, just to make sure I keep my stress levels down, because we're dealing with a lot of people. We're dealing with a lot of illnesses. I'm dealing with a lot of sick people, people that are actually dealing with life-threatening issues, people that have deadlines. One brother got mad at me because he was facing a deadline and I didn't get to him fast enough. And I apologize for that, because, man, we're helping as many people as we can. But we have to be patient, because this is a process that has really never been on the planet like this before. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're talking about everlasting life. We are now in the days of everlasting life. So if you're blood type A, guess what? Rigorous exercise actually doesn't suit you as well. You know what suits blood type A? More of calm and relaxing exercise. Something like yoga, Pilates, maybe aerobics. These blood type A do best with. That doesn't mean that you still can't get out there and get your workout on, but just start understanding that blood type A, if you do rigorous exercise like blood type O, you actually will cause your immune system to be a little bit more burned out. So you'll burn up your immune system a little bit more than if you was blood type O. Blood type B is kind of in between. It deals with a lot of calm and relaxation techniques, but it also deals with a little, or shall I say, a moderate rigor, not the intense rigor. Blood type O is the intense rigor. Blood type B is like the moderate rigor. But blood type AB, once again, they kind of are in the same boat with blood type A. They deal with mostly, they can do calm relaxation techniques, but not a whole lot of exercise, especially not rigorous, because it burns out their immune system, their adrenaline also. So think about it for a second. These are the things we need to know, so that as we manage our stress, we know our blood types, we know which foods we should eat. So now, if you know your blood type and you understand how that particular blood type is able to manage stress, and also you know which foods are beneficial for you, now you're on the right track. You get it? You're on the right track, because you're not going to go and eat the bad food. You're going to eat the food that's medicine to your body. And not only going to eat medicine, but you're going to eat it right after a rigorous training. If you're blood type O, you're going to eat the right foods after a yoga session. If you're blood type A, you're going to eat the right foods after maybe a hiking trip or a little biking if you're blood type B. You see what I'm saying? We need to understand how to bring the body back into a state of balance, because everything we do day by day is either taking us closer to living longer life, or it's taking us closer to death. And there, unfortunately, it's black and white. There is no in between. You can't just sit in the middle and try to figure out which way you want to go. No, every day, every thought, everything you speak, everything you do when you leave your house, you have to now become a little bit conscious of it. But you won't have to be conscious all the time. You just have to be conscious initially until you start to change who you are, until you start to change your personality. Because once you start to become really aware and fully aware of what's going on in your body, and you start to preserve it better, then now you are the master of yourself. You are the master of your life. And at that point, you and the Father become one, because this is what God has intended for us, to live a long life, to live in peace, to live without stress. And if you do have a little stress, you do like the animals. Animals do not spend 9 to 5 under stress. Humans do that, not animals. If an animal who is really in danger, if he sees a lion or if he smells a lion, he takes off. That fight or flight kicks in, he takes off, it fuels his muscle, and he's running. Now, let me see if I'm correct. So not a lion. So if a lion is chasing a deer or a gazelle, so the gazelle, let's take the gazelle. If the gazelle sees a lion, he takes off running, his fight or flight kicks in, he can outrun the lion, because that immune system is going to be shut down, because he's not trying to fight infection. His digestive system is going to shut down because he's not trying to use the washroom. His muscles are going to be fueled. His glucose is going to be increased. so he can get out of that situation. That's why they call it fight or flight. But when the danger is gone, the lion couldn't outrun or catch the gazelle or the deer because they have more stamina. Why? Because they're vegans. They're herbivores. They don't eat meat. An herbivore, a vegan, we have more stamina. We have more stamina sexually. We have more stamina on the track. We have more stamina on the football field. Look at Tom Brady. He's 44 years old, and he's still winning Super Bowls because he has a plant-based diet. So we're learning that it's not too manly to eat meat, because the brothers that are eating meat are now having prostate problems. And when you have prostate problems, you stop having sexual desires. So it's not that manly. That's a lie that we grew up learning. So now we need to know the truth. Meat is not manly. It's actually the very opposite of manly. Most athletes are trained that you got to eat meat, you got to get your protein. Yes, you do need protein. You just don't need animal protein. And let me tell you guys, before 2004, before I became vegan, I was a bodybuilder. And I was bench pressing 380. Yep. Bench pressing 380 pounds. I was squatting 600 pounds. So yes, I was cock diesel. I was about 235 pounds. And you know why I was that big? Because I had a lot of deep insecurity. And I let my outward appearance hide my deepest insecurity. And once I learned who I was, once I discovered my true self, I let everything go, let the body go, let the diet go. And I started discovering who I was on a deeper level, on a more subconscious level. And that's what we need to do now. We need to start to learn who we really are, know thyself. And in order to know thyself, as scripture tells us, you need to learn about who you are when it comes to your blood type, learn about how to manage your stress properly based upon your chemistry, learn about which foods are best for your body, which foods are detrimental for your body, so that you can master yourself. Learn how to meditate so you can clear your mind. And now your health is in order. And after that, of course, you can start working on your wealth. Well, you can kind of do it at the same time, which is what we're doing. So that's why we're putting these products together. We're talking about longevity nutrition, which is packed with nutrition, rich nutrition, organic. And not only that, but it has prebiotics, which feeds the probiotics, and it has probiotics. And it also has fiber. You need the fiber in order to move the waste through your gut. When we eat meat, we were never told that it doesn't have fiber. So that's why it gets clogged up in the system. Parasite mucus buster. I know Melissa got kind of mucus buster on there, but the beginning of the word is parasite. And we need to understand, because if you're a meat eater, you're probably dealing with some parasites. And if you're dealing with parasites, then you're probably dealing with some vitamin and mineral deficiency. So we got to kill the parasites. We got to clear out the mucus, because, the mucus is also doing the same thing that the parasite is doing. It's hindering the absorption of vitamins and minerals that your body needs to rebuild and repair itself. And last but not least, the liquid colonic detox tea. And another name for our liquid colonic is called gut gone. Gut gone, G-U-T, gut gone tea. Because it flattens your belly. So this tea, I know a lot of people are going to be getting this tea because it literally does flatten your belly. Now, that wasn't the original intention. The intention of the tea was to clean out your whole gastrointestinal tract. But in the process, it flattens your belly. So yes, so we back to flat belly, right? Back to the flat belly lifestyle. But guess what? Not only is it going to flatten your belly, but it's going to give you back that waistline. It's going to take them inches off your sides, and it's going to make you lighter. It's going to give you more energy, and it's going to heal your body. And that's what's important about this whole process. And this is what we're working so hard day and night to make sure you get, because the truth is, we love you. You know, I love you just as I love my God. I love my people. And this is a genuine love. It's not love is not what you say to a person. Love is what you do for a person. And when I committed my life to this, I knew my predecessors were probably assassinated. And I was okay with that, because if I'm assassinated because of what I'm doing, then that's a good death. So anyway, I like to tell you guys, hey, keep up the good work. Give us the patience. We're working on scans. We're working on getting regimens out. This week, we're going to be sending out a lot of regimens. We got people that are starting to cleanse now because they just can't wait. Some people are dealing with some serious things and they can't wait until January. So they're getting on board now. They're doing the 3-week cleanse. The 7-day will be available, but you'll also have an option in January when you get the products, or December 1st when you get the products, to do a 1-week or a 3-week, because the products will be constructed where you can do either or. And most people really do need 3 weeks cleanse. You need at least 21 days to develop a new habit, because all of our old habits are not serving us properly. So at that point, I also want to say thank you to Sharon. Sharon is on the line. She's my wonderful companion. I'm gonna tell you guys something, just so I can be really transparent with you. So
breathe.
So give me a minute.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Take your time.
I was in a 7-year relationship, and I wanted it to lead to marriage because my son came out of that relationship, but I held on to it thinking that it was the right thing to do, but it was actually killing me, and I knew that because I was looking at my own scan, and I was moving towards a heart attack. And I can show you the numbers, because in 2011, I was in my prime. I made it back to my prime. Everything was normal. My heart was back in the same condition that it was when I was in my 20s, which is why I was running college times at the age of 42. But once I got into the relationship, it started becoming real taxing and toxic. So that's why I tell you, it's not always what you're eating that makes you sick. Sometimes it's what's eating at you. And I prayed my way out of that relationship because I didn't want to leave, because I didn't want it to affect my son, because he's my bloodline and I had to protect my bloodline. So I prayed. This was the first relationship that I've ever prayed to God to ask me, to tell me and show me which way I should go. And he gave me direction. He made the necessary changes, and he moved me out of it peacefully. I was grateful for that, because this was a time where I didn't lean to my own understanding. And after about 2 years, I was back. I made it back to my prime. I got back on the cleanse, and I was able to reestablish my balance, and I reversed heart disease in my own body. And the reason I say that is because I'm predisposed to heart disease, because my grandmother died of a heart attack in 1979 on Thanksgiving.
Okay, babe.
And when she died, I remember was that there was no one around to help her. Ambulance and paramedics didn't get there fast enough, and I never got a chance to say goodbye. And so that's what started me off on this journey, is because I never wanted to be in a position where I couldn't help anybody, as let alone my family. So when I do this, I do this from my heart. I don't do this because of money. I do it because I care. So I apologize. I wasn't expecting to get emotional. When you have the weight of the world on your hands, when you have life in your hands, you repress a lot of those emotions. And so even now, I detox. I detox emotionally, I detox mentally, because there are certain things of the past that are reminding me of why I set off to do what I'm doing. And so don't hold back. Release, express, let it go. I could have stayed strong and not cried here, but I want you guys to understand how transparent I am as far as me sincerely wanting to help you heal. Nobody should have to die early. Nobody should have to die at all unless you over 120. Because God said, he said, man shall not always strive with me, but he is also flesh, yet his years shall be 120. And so he at least gave us 120 years, but we're not making it to that. We're barely making it to 40, barely making it to 50. So there's some things that really have to be corrected here. And that's why I'm here to help make that correction. So I thank you guys for allowing me to detox mentally and emotionally. That was not what I was gonna do, but I guess that's what the Spirit has allowed me to do.
Thank you for being you.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank
So-
you.
You all right? You all right, brother? You at home? You with family? Okay.
Go, Mom. Go.
Yes.
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 Proud
We
of
are
you,
passionate about what you are saying and what you are doing. We
Yes.
have so much that we need to get out to our community. Hey, to save lives and to have them to be able to live a longer life than what we expected to do. That's why I do what I do, because I know about the pain. Having family members to die too early. I'm passionate about it, brother. I receive everything that you are talking about.
I receive
We
it.
love you.
I love you, Frat. Thank you.
Love
We love you. We love you, brother. We love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prince, and I am excited and passionate to learn.
Yes, thank you.
Good, wonderful asset.
Yes.
Wonderful asset.
Yes.
Thank you all.
God bless you, man.
And my message to you is live in your imagination, not in your memory. The memory is only going to cause you to re-experience it. If you live in your imagination, your possibilities are infinite. Have no ceilings and be free to soar and open your mind and let it go.
Amen.
So I want to thank you guys.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
I'm gonna turn it over to you, Melissa, and I'm gonna go wipe my tears away.
That's all right, brother. That's all right.
That's okay.
Wow.
All good, Eric. All good.
Yes, we love you, Eric. We love you, Sharon, because I know, Sharon, you've been just there right by his side. This has been
I love you too.
a massive undertaking, and I think
Oh, that's a wonderful.
you're here tonight, guys. This is the care and commitment we have with this team. And when we met a few days before Legacy, we knew we were taking on something that most people would say was impossible. There's no way you can bring a program like this so fast. But what Eric recognized, what Sharon recognized, what I recognized, if we didn't do this, we knew that in that between time while we're waiting for everything to be perfect, there's going to be people that lose their lives. And I am just so grateful because this team doesn't sleep trying to help you, trying to help all of us. And I just tell you what, your story tonight just impacted us all, but just know we are here for you both, Sharon and Eric. Eric, we're going to lift you both up because we need you a part of this journey. And yes, it may not be perfect at this moment in which we're in, but we're doing it now because we know we can't wait. We've been through too much generational trauma, too much emotional trauma, too many toxic relationships, too much toxic food, and we need to detox all of that. And it took you both bringing that to us for this moment to happen. So we want to just salute you and let you know how much you are uplifted by all of Wakanda Nation, and we are here for you. And I just want us to all unmute ourselves, let them know how much we love them and appreciate.
We love you, Eric. We love you.
you.
Love you guys.
Sharon.
Love you
Thank
all.
you so
Love
much.
you.
All the work you are doing.
We appreciate that.
That's a real man.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That's a real
Love
man
you
right
both.
there. That's a real
Man,
man.
what a
God for
man,
you,
what a
Eric
man.
and Sharon.
Mighty good man.
Love
Amen.
it, guys.
We need more like him.
Mooney has
Praise
some
God.
competition, y'all. Mooney
Yes,
has
yes. He does, right?
No, that just means we're in
Watch
good
your mouth.
hands. We're in good hands.
Eric. Go there is the room.
Real men cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
men
I
cry.
can let it out.
Yeah.
And a couple of announcements, guys. If you're in Chicago, we're going to have scans available only for Tuesdays for the next 2 weeks. So you have to make sure you email melissa@wakanda.com if you're not already scheduled. We'll get you on the books. It's going to be either this Tuesday or next Tuesday. Of course, this Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we wish you all a a happy Thanksgiving. But the following Thursday, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. So you want to make sure you mark your calendar for anyone who knows anyone in Atlanta, Georgia. We're flying in early morning. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Sharon, Eric, and also Darlena will be there with us. We're going to be flying in. I believe we get in at like 9 in the morning. So we're going to actually do scans, blood type all day long. I believe it's going to start about 11 o'clock. We're going to go all the way until our plane is ready to leave at I believe 10:50 p.m. that night. So we're in for one day only. We want to do as many scans, as many blood types as we can. And we're doing 2 seminars. So we're going to have a chance to educate the crowd as well. Stay tuned to Facebook. We're going to drop all those details on Facebook. This has been a powerful night. I mean, I think most of us can relate to having so much we deal with emotionally. And when you were talking about toxic relationships, I know everyone's been there where you've had somebody pouring into you in a negative way. And just to see how bad that a terrible relationship could almost take you out. You know, we want to make sure we're associating and putting ourselves in a positive environment. And so we just love and appreciate this message tonight. We're going to share it on Facebook so that you can get this message out to people you know, people that you love. And with that said, we will have another session next Sunday. So make sure you tune in Sunday. We'll do it a little bit earlier, so we'll have time for Q&A. And so with that said, guys, we just thank you all. We love you all. We appreciate you all. And I want to just say good evening and good night to everyone. So thank you, guys. Love you guys.
Good night.
Have you, Melissa.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Guys in the morning. Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank
Get
you.
Dallas on the books.
Oh, yeah, get Dallas on the books.
Dallas is coming, baby.
Okay.
Dallas, Maryland, we're going to take it around. South Carolina, we got you guys.